Welcome to this beautiful platform. We are talking to young women who are determined to change their communities. These wonderful young women have started their own initiatives with nothing but aiming to change their communities. Through determination and proper mentorship, we believe that they are going far.
Every woman deserves to be in a peaceful and a secure space.
Women are socialized to have different roles.
Any action that you do, you must be ready to pay the price.
They have commercialized our bodies in every aspect of life.
You're beautiful before even a man tells you that.
Hello, welcome back to the Passing the Baton Podcast. This is where we talk everything women. And today with me, I am joined by amazing women who are striking strides in the women, peace and security scope. So because I'll do a disservice in introducing them, kindly allow me to just let them tell us who they are. Yes, so I'll just begin from our far right. Please tell us who you are and what you do.
Hello, everyone, and I'm very, very grateful to be with you this morning. Thank you, ladies, for joining. My name is Sn01 Ep08. I'm a peace builder. I always prefer saying that I'm a peace builder with over 30 years experience in peace building work. I started peace building when I was a young girl, a student at the university. And fast forward, I didn't like issues of women, peace and security. But they just followed me. It just happened. I was volunteering in an office called People for Peace in Africa. And in People for Peace in Africa, that is where I really knew what it meant to do peace building work. I was able to meet Sudanese women Voice for Peace. I was able to meet Somali women in the peace building sector. And I met quite a number of Sudanese landlords, warlords. And they really impressed me. So I started doing peace building work back in 1992, when we had the first ethnic clashes in the country. I happened to have gone to one of the displaced camps, a place called Thessalia, and my heart just fell that women were suffering in the displaced camps. That really sparked my interest in working for women. So I began the Women, Peace and Security agenda. From there, not really knowing that it was a really key thing, but I followed up. I'm one of the people who have been in the first National Action Plan, development of the first National Action Plan in Kenya from 2009. I've done the second National Action Plan, and now we are in the process of doing the third National Action Plan on UN Security Council Resolution 1325. Today, they call me a localization agent because I've been participating in localizing the UN Security Council Resolution 1325 so that it is not a one dress fit it all. Each county, each area have their own action plan. So that is what I am doing currently. Tomorrow I'll be in Kajiado trying to see how we can localize the Kajiado local action plan. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I am Rose Mbone, and I'm so happy to be in this space. And my journey in peace building backs back to the last 13 years. I was a very young girl. I'm still young, of course. And I think growing up in the informal settlement shaped my thinking about peace building in this country. And apart from Kenya, I've had an opportunity to represent this country in several spaces. And one that has really stuck by me is having an opportunity to be in the room when the African Union was developing its first continental framework on youth, peace and security. And that gave me an opportunity to add in our voice as a country, but also as a young woman. I've learned a lot in the women, peace and security space, and I honestly look forward to having this conversation. And I wish every young woman who is getting into this space well, just know that you have shoulders to lean on. Some of us are standing on shoulders of giants, and we are offering ourselves now. We are beginning to exit the age bracket of we are young and everything, but we welcome you and we wish you well.
Great. Yes.
Hi everyone. My name is Wendy Aura. I'm a young person who's very passionate about matters of girls and women empowerment. And my background in this work started way back when I was a student leader at University of Nairobi, working a lot with the Women Students Association. And then out of college now, I was able to train to be a young man mediation ambassador. And that's why I learned that everything I've been doing around gender equality, education, matters of gender-based violence, all these things have a relation with the peace building. And since then, I've been really passionate about women, peace and security because it forms a core. It forms a core part of gender equality. And I'm so glad to be here. I'm so excited. I can't wait to hear from the mentors and trailblazers in this field, and also learn and share what we have. And above all, I'm really passionate about issues to do with governance. And also, I am a leader in various spaces. For today, I'm here to speak and share, and also to just share about what you can do better, especially for the girls and women of this country. Thank you.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Hi, thank you for creating this podcast. I go by the name Lydia Achieng. I am a young girl from the informal settlements. I represent young people from the informal settlements in different boards. I am an adolescent mentor. I mentor the young girls in the informal settlements. Of course, peace and security is a matter that is really deep in me. So growing up in the informal settlements, I've seen all the disparities that women, the girls who are facing in the informal settlements, and it's something that really touched my heart. And so growing up, I felt like I could be part of the solution, as much as I'm trying very, very hard to get out of such kind of space. But also, every woman deserves to be in a peaceful and a secure space. So that is why I really feel like this is a conversation that should involve everyone. Just to mention, I represent the people from informal settlements in different UN boards. I sit at the UNFPA Youth Advisory Panel, whereby I sit in the capacity of a young girl who's advising on matters youths in the informal settlement. I also sit on the UN Leaving No One Behind sounding board, which particularly looks at the people who are mostly left behind, women being one of them, girls and children, and of course the people living in ASAL places and the persons with disabilities. So I really look forward to this, and I hope to learn from the wise women and also to just give my experiences. Yeah, thank you.
Sweet. Oh, with the accolades, you for sure know it's going to be a fire session. So to start off for us, of course, it's the shoulders we are leaning on today, and it is our wise woman. Peace, when you talk about peace and security, because today we are talking about where were we, where are we, and what's ahead. Tell us what was then. Tell us just...
Far you want us to go?
We are here. We have the time.
Far in terms of backdating history. If you want to backdate history,
please go ahead. Feel free.
It's very important to note that the history of women's struggle in Kenya has been really a history of quite a number of women coming into the space, dealing with different issues. But the history of peace building in this country, we write it from Wajir. Many people do not know that we begin our history from Wajir. In Wajir, I had an opportunity of meeting the late Deka Ibrahim, who founded the Peace Committee. Women were fighting in Wajir, men were fighting in Wajir, but what sparked the issue of struggle for peace is that two women fought in the market, and one of them gouged the eye of the other. They were from two different clans. And when they went home, one woman said, "Look at what the Ajuran women have done to me." And the moment you begin mentioning a whole community, it means that the community actually fought this woman. So it took a whole process of the community from Ajuran fighting the Dogodias. And Deka, being a teacher, decided, no, we cannot have this. We are women, we are tribeless, we don't know where we'll end up. Let's form a representation of women from different clans. And that is how they began the process. The men took over, of course, looking at it as their main baby. When the men took over, it became really a challenge. But Deka said, wait a minute. The men, 15, can be representing, and us, we can be sitting and feeding them the information because we are tribeless and we trespass all boundaries. Tomorrow, my child will be married. So this started the peace security, the Wajir peace security. Actually, Deka won an award in 2011, just before she died, a livelihood award on peace building. So when we had the first ethnic clashes in 1992, the women were at the forefront of how do we feed fellow women. Back in Nairobi, some of us were gathering clothes. You just know when something happens, then you're told, okay, they are displaced persons, they need 1, 2, 3. But women who are living in camps and women who are living in homes, especially in the Mount Elgon region, we find that the women would go at night with empty baskets and carry food from the women who are living at home. So the peace building process began in that particular aspect. I happen to have had an opportunity as a young person at age 20. I was already in the mix-up of going to listen to peace building training. If you see my photo with some of those women who are tall, the late Rose Barmasai, our peace advisor, our president's advisor, Ambassador Monica Juma, Dr. Monica Juma, was one of my mentors at that particular time. The late Deka Ibrahim, Celine Koril, and I had an experience. And I want to tell you this experience was very interesting, that I went to facilitate a workshop as a young person, and they said, no, you have skills that you can facilitate even other older people. I went to Bondo, Maseno South, and I was wearing a jeans trouser. At that time in the 90s, dirty jeans and dirty rubber shoes and faded jeans were the in thing. So that is what I was wearing. So landing in Bondo, I began the facilitation, of course, breaking ice. You know Luos, they came in suits. The women were wearing palms and nice skirts. But me, I'm there with a t-shirt for the organization, and I'm there with a black trouser. So it took one elder to raise up his hand, and he asked me, Madam, it's not that you're not saying the right thing. When are the facilitators coming? When are the facilitators coming? I was really a task to explain myself that I am one of the facilitators. And he judged me, dressed like this. I know you're in university, and what you're telling us is in line. It taught me that women are not accepted, even as peace builders, the way you are dressed. You might have knowledge, you might have everything, but the dress code says a lot about you. The age says a lot about you. And I told myself, I will struggle to reach there. I will make sure that I am at that level of the women who arrive in a handbag. They arrive in a handbag, they arrive in shoes that are announcing, umefika, bado, umefika, bado. The shoes must announce the arrival. So for me, I have seen the struggle of these women in the peace building arena. It wasn't like a big thing, but we were doing peace building and celebrating little milestones, working behind the scenes, arriving. My first experience arriving in Wajir, Deka told me, come with a headscarf. I'm 20, 22, 23, a headscarf on my head. Are you joking? But when I landed there, at the airport, the women came to meet me. She just told me, you are coming, you're going to be quiet. You are not going to talk. You will sit in the meeting, you will listen in. It's men who talk in my culture. So don't open your big mouth. So I had all those lessons with me. But when I landed, my scarf was hanging on my shoulder. When the women saw me, they gave me, that big Somali headscarf. It's called a gabsar, that is reaching here, that was heavier than me. I went. But there are lessons that I'm drawing that when you want to do peace building work, you must be ready for any eventuality. I was ready for the eventuality. I was ready to shut up with my loud mouth. I was ready to listen. So the key lessons that I am bringing is, how do we listen? How do you listen to the conversation when somebody else is speaking? How do you respect what they are saying? Whether you like the contribution or not, how do you put those little boundaries? I listened in. And today here I am, running with the peace building work, running with issues of women, peace and security, and sitting in spaces that I never thought I would sit. Sitting in spaces of NGO working group on women, peace and security under the AU. I sit in the Commonwealth space on women, peace and security agents. So there are spaces that you must invite yourself. Sometimes you're not invited. There are spaces that you must invite yourself to be part and parcel and say, I am here, you missed my name. My name is Susan, and I am here, even when you're not invited. Thank you.
Wow. Should we just close up and go?
That is a full...
Wow, that is passion right there. And I think I noted something while you were starting. You said peace and security was not your cup of tea. In fact, you never wanted to hear this thing. This is a question to all of us, but because you started for us, I just want you to tell us, how was it now then that, we've heard you speak, and that is passion. But before then, it was not your thing. Yeah. How did you get yourself into peace and security? And this is for us all, but maybe you can start us off.
Okay. Mm-hmm. In 1992, I was a student at the university, and the ethnic clashes happened. I started off because two students were fighting from the Kalenjin community and the Kisi community. One of them wanted to knife the other, and both of them were my friends. They like, you people, the Kalenjins, you are killing our people. That really hit me hard. That people, we are here, we are young people, we are living together, we love one another, we are running around, and what is happening back in your home, you want to bring it to the university. At the University of Nairobi, that is when I began the process of trying to talk to these two people, two gentlemen in Hall 5. They were in Hall 5. They really wanted to fight. And one of the gentlemen, Kip Koril, ran to Women's Hall. And he actually hid in Women's Hall for a whole week. He couldn't operate from his room. He was operating from either Women's Hall or hiding, because he knew that they would attack him, that the Kalenjins are attacking people back in the Rift Valley, and this was a game. So it is through that we were about 5-6 students. We approached one of our lecturers, and when we approached him, he sat us down and he made us begin a program on peace building work. He actually told us, you can do it. He is the one who took us to meet People for Peace in Africa. He took us to Merinol Fathers and to Komboni Priest, who are working very closely with us. So he made all of us to do a research on the history of conflict, ethnic conflict in Kenya, and each person to be able to look at their region, what were some of those things. So in the process of doing this history and being attached at People for Peace in Africa, I began to learn and to want to do peace work intentionally. Because at that People for Peace in Africa, I would see warlords coming. And there's this priest, the late Merinol priest, Father Carol Hull. He would say, Susan, I want you to come and see Lama Kol. Lama Kol is a Sudanese warlord. Today, I want you to see Riek Machar. These people are fighting. They're not seeing eye to eye. And you see how their country is. He actually took us to Kakuma refugee camp. And the suffering of the youth in Kakuma refugee camp really hit me. That if we don't do anything as young people in our country will look like what was happening in Sudan. So I began to get an interest, and just sitting in that office during free time from classes, we were able to find a group called Amani People's Theatre that was going to use theatre for peace building work, which we founded in 1994. So this really pushed me ahead to begin doing peace work. That is where I really started my peace work at People for Peace in Africa.
So good. The bar has been set high.
I know.
Yes. Please tell us how you found yourself in matters peace and security.
My how and why is a painful process. And growing up in the informal settlement, violence is normalized, and you don't read violence in books, you don't watch them on news, you experience them every day. But until it hits home is when you begin to realize that, ouch, it is extremely painful. So in 2005, I have a brother who is a very brilliant young man. He's arrested. He's taken to prison, the judicial process. I'm still a very young girl, but I'm quite aware of what is happening in my surrounding. And that was 2005. And then he was in prison for 8 years. And upon his release, 6 months down the line, he was shot dead. So to me, that was a thorn in the flesh, direct. And I got into several grieving stages. To an extent, I was stuck. I didn't know, what do I do with myself? Because this is someone, we were raised, I come from a family of 6. But me and him, we were raised by my grandmother. So there was that personal touch and everything. But I was so angry and frustrated at the youth and the police. I kept asking myself, why can't the youth stop engaging in drugs and criminal activities? And why can't this country stop extrajudicial execution? But I couldn't find my answers in my questioning. Then I used to hide my pain in theater. So we used to have a community-based organization that was doing traditional dances. So I would go for my practices the whole day, like I'm pumping all my energy there. Then one day, there was a project that was coming. It was called Kenya Tuna Uwezo. And Celine Korir was spearheading that project. Then she came in and she was referred to me by Millicent Otieno from the Local Capacities for Peace International. And Celine says, we are coming to see your audition where you do your practice. Then she came. And I was like, what do you want to launch? I didn't hear you when we were talking over the phone. She said, it's a peace-building process. We want to understand how to prevent electro-instigated violence in Kenya and specifically in the informal settlements. So it's like, peace-building, violence, informal settlement. I am not so sure I want to be part of this process. But then Celine kept saying, you know what? There is a reason why you have to be there. So just like Susan was saying, sometimes when we are in pain and frustration, we honestly don't understand our where. We don't know where we are going. We don't know how to go about it. But Celine was very firm, and she insisted that I'm going to be part of that. So for me, I was like, after performance, we are done. Then after 2 months, Celine called and she was like, hi, Rose, how are you? I said, I'm fine. There are 2 trainings coming up, and one is on trauma healing awareness and resilience, and another one is on women, peace and security that is being spearheaded by the UN Women. I told her when, where. She said, the UN one, it's going to happen at the Great Rift Valley Lodge. I was like, me? From here to such a 5-star hotel, I couldn't imagine. So I was telling her, I will think about it. 2 days to the training, she called and said, can you please pack your bag or whatever you have? You are going for this. I was invited, but I want you to come in and stand in the gap. I said, I speak broken English. I don't know how I will communicate with those people. You are taking me to a high place. I don't know how to dress. She said, come as you are. So she kind of like affirmed me. It is okay, we kuja. So when I went, I met women. And in our space, we used to call them women who have arrived. The clothes I had packed, I kept asking myself, wait, how will I look tomorrow? If today we're just having dinner and these women are looking like this, then the next day I came in, it was amazing because for them, they were not even looking at how I was dressed. Funny enough, most of them wanted to understand how is it in the informal settlement and how can we support you to grow. So I met a lot of women who supported me along the journey. And what strengthened my why in peace building is the trauma healing awareness and resilience. That is when I realized you cannot move when you're still hurting. You need someone to hold your hand, to remind you that, you know what, it is okay, what you're going through. And maybe one day you will overcome it or you will learn to live with it. And along the way, I continue to meet some amazing mentors. And my experience with Jane is backed in around 2014, 2015. And we are having a conversation in Kibera. And she's asking me, Rose, you're very brilliant. What are you doing? I say, I'm not so sure. You have to be sure of what you're doing. I said, maybe I want to sell pudding. She said, okay, pudding is a good space for you to be in, but I honestly want you to strengthen your leadership and you can do a lot. You're such a young person and your future is bright, so keep on pushing. And Susan here, you know, when you're talking and your mentor is in the house, you behave. She's been an amazing mentor because along the way, my how no longer or my why no longer holds me back. I don't look back and feel sorry for myself. Oh, this happened. Me, I focus. And I remember in 2017, when we met, and Susan was like, hey, where have you been? I was like, Mimi, Niko tu. You know, I still have umta in me. And she's like, okay, I'm inviting you for a meeting next week. My meetings are so many, but you will have to hear about them because they made me who I am. And when I went, when we were going for that meeting, the two of us, I was like, oh, again, another dressing thing in my head. So I came in my ragged. I was looking funny, but according to me, I looked smart. But then I realized sometimes getting into these spaces, even how you dress, even how people will address you the way you are dressed because they think like it is not enough to come how you are. So Susan really mentored me, and today I arrive my people.
Yes.
And another scenario is in 2018. I am pregnant with my baby girl who is turning 7 in November. Susan calls me in January and she's like, there is this opportunity for young women in mediation. And I don't want you to try. I want you to go. Can you please apply? I'm like, young women. So I go and read the criteria. And they're like, lactating and pregnant mothers will not be allowed. I applied. Out of curiosity, I was like, after all, I'm pregnant. I'm not so sure if my application will go through. After 1 month, feedback in my email. Congratulations, you're going to Addis. You've been selected. I switched off my phone. I was pregnant. And now Susan, the organizers are on her neck like, where is this girl? You gave us an amazing person, but Nimteja, we are sending emails, she's not responding. We have never been looked for like that. I was not even in Nairobi, but everyone was calling my mom, tell her to open that phone now. We are not begging her, she's going to Addis. And when I went to Addis through the mediation process, I learned a lot. And sometimes as young women, we just need to be reminded that we can make mistakes along the way, but that is not the end of the road. And if a young woman makes mistake and we like abandon them, imagine we are shattering a whole door, because a young woman has a way of bringing another young woman into this space. I've seen a lot of young people say, you know what? I send application and I'm like, apply. How do I go about it? Sijui nini mi sijui kizungu. I say, na hiyo kizungu yako, apply it. When it comes, you will communicate. We go in big conferences and people cannot speak English. They have Arabic translators for us. They have French. They have Portuguese. So apply and be comfortable. It is not about what or how you're going to communicate. People are looking at that rich experience. Bring it on board. And sometimes there is a disconnect between the grassroots, national, regional, and continental level, because you want to limit yourself. I can't. It's too big. This responsibility, I cannot take it up. If you don't set example, then you're failing a whole generation. I always imagine, what if I didn't go to Addis for the young women mediation process? What would have happened to people like Susan or even other senior women who have opened doors for me? Maybe ingewafungia, they get other opportunities and they're like, those grassroots, let us give others who are at least awakened or aware of where they are going and what they want in life. So yes, that is my how and why. And I also want to appreciate, because Celine took me back to school. Yeah. And I was able to go back to school after 7 years. Sijui nilidrop form 2. Nikaingia kwa mavitu zangu huko kwa kijiji, you know. But I want to really appreciate and be grateful, because reality is that education set us at par. Yeah.
Pressure near gas. Yenyu, sawa.
Yeah, I feel like doing this.
Can you tell us how you... and I know it might not be directly, you're into it directly, but it does interlink. Tell us, how do you find yourself in a peace and security conversation? And I think from what they've said, you can pick out even examples. Just use examples of, briefly, kindly.
I think I was so into those stories. They're amazing. So for me, I think I've been doing peace work, but I didn't know it's called peace work. Now, and I think you're talking about a PhD. Yeah, so there's this application that came. I look at it. It's a big organization, International Peace Center for Peace and Human Rights. So big, Africa. So I look at it, and the questions are about peace work. And I'm like, no, I'm not into peace work. I dismissed it. Then the second time something kept pushing me back. I keep on opening that link, and I'm like, question about peace work. They're asking me about my experience. So for me, in my head, I was like, I am a Luo. We come from the lakeside. So I was imagining that people who should be in peace work should be the Somalis or people at the border. So in my mind, I was like, how do I fake it? I really want this. Because I keep on opening the link, but I keep telling myself, so how do I lie? Because I really want it, but I don't come from a violent background. So I was looking at violence in terms of the Sudan. Yeah, so I was like, no, Homa Bay is not like Sudan. So I'm like, do I fake it? I live in Kondele, because Kondele at least is known. So I'm trying to figure out. But no, I'm like, no, I don't need to lie. So I kept on thinking about that application. And then I said, okay, let me just try and say anything. So I pick about my student leadership. And I speak about I'm a student leader. I chair a women students association at UN. And the students keep coming to me about the problems. There's a time a student is raped. We need to handle that. We are doing demos. So I keep mentioning the things I do. They're asking me about my experience in mediation. I didn't know those are called mediation. But I just gave my experience, and I was like, I'm hoping for the best. And then, like Rose, the email came. I was selected. I was like, no, this is not me. I also had moments of doubt. I was like, no, I cannot be in peace work, until I went for that training. And that is when I realized whatever I do is peace work. I didn't know things to do with GVV is called peace work. For me, peace work, you have to be in Sudan or Somali. So that training opened my eyes. And now looking back at how I started, I think mine is also personal. I come from a family of girls. We are 5 girls. I'm the firstborn. So my dad died when I was in Form 1, and we went back home. Maisha Letupiga. So we went back home to the village, starting from scratch. I was going to a rural school, trying to settle in. Everything was just so hard. Life was so hard. And then years on, no, he was not dead already. So in the village, he got his job, but he died immediately. So my mom became a widow. So that time, I think I started getting exposed to what widows face, the reality of widows, and to make it worse, a widow with girls. So she went through a lot of things. I saw people taking things from us, and there's nothing we could do about it. I felt so helpless for a long time. In my high school time, it was so normal. Sometimes my mom could go sleep at a friend's home because amefukuzwa na panga. Like, it is our home, but sometimes we couldn't even sleep in that home. Like, there was a lot of wrangles. My dad was a public servant. He was a teacher. So there was a lot of money issues, inheritance and all that. Like, it was so messy. But for me, because he left when already I was admitted to a national school, so I was able to get a scholarship. So most of the time, I could go to school, come back holiday. But I saw my sisters, like, they were still so young. But I witnessed a lot. Every time I came back home, I witnessed a lot of injustice to my family. And then for a long time, we felt helpless and it was comfortable. Like, you could find someone getting drunk, one of the uncles, those drunk uncles. And then the first stop could be our place. Then akuje, apige kelele, harass us. And then we could just go and hide in the bedroom. We could do nothing about it. My mom fighting alone. So I think I kept on piling that pain. And then I felt this so helpless until now. For me, that's why I'm passionate about education. For me, getting out of that village to a national school, it exposed me in so many ways. So many ways. I was learning pole too. I'm getting exposed. So when I get back home, bado nakoma tu, bado tunadhulumiwa, but doing nothing. I think until I was in Form 4 now, the exposure at least many, some confidence. So there's a time, because I really struggled even to get that scholarship. Now I'm in Form 4. So that day, I don't know what got into me. So he came so drunk, amekaa hapo, and then he's like, actually, I was not in Form 4. I'd finished, and I had a letter to UN. And that was like a plus. Like, I was the news of the village. I'd gone to UN. Family of girls. So that's a big issue. So at that time, I was still the news. So this uncle comes, and then he started claiming how he fought so hard for me to learn. Bila mimi, aungesoma. You could have just gone to these local schools. Now, speaking a lot of trash. And then I knew so well in my heart it was not true. And my mom was just sitting helpless, doing nothing. Kamezoya. So this time, I stood up and told him the truth. I don't know what got into me, but my mom kept telling me, no, Wendy, usingie kwa hii vita. Just keep off. Acha tu aongea ataenda nyumbani. But I was like, no, we cannot continue doing this for years. I stood up. I'm like, no, nobody's going nowhere. Sisters zangu, sit down. My mom, sit down. Let me talk to him. I told him everything I've been keeping. Nikamwambia, first of all, you did not educate me. Not even a shilling went to that school. You didn't help me write that application to get a scholarship. And now I have two scholarships. You did nothing. You've just harassed us. You've done I said everything. And I think I was shaking because I've never done that. I was shaking. And then I ended it and told him, now what I want you to do, get out of this house, never set a foot in this home. Never call me your daughter. Now in Luo, your uncles, they're like your father. You call them Baba, Uonwas, you know. So they're like your father. Nikamwambia, from today I cease to be called your daughter. Never call me that name. Never set foot. Ikakuwa vita. So what do you mean? You think sasa umesoma umefika university, umeitwa university, ushamea pembe, yeah? And now you think you know everything. You want to do that. So it was war. And then my mom was afraid. Alienda kwa bedroom, alikuwa na rungu standby. Alijua katachafuka hapa. So my sisters went hiding. My mom came with some rungu, ako nyuma yangu. No, mom. No, today we are fighting. Wacha tu tulimane leo. So I declared war. And then at last, I defeated and he left. Nikamwambia, never step foot and never call me your daughter. No one else is going to step home in our home ever again to come and harass my mom. And let me tell you, since that day, I was shaking. I don't know what got into me. I don't know, it's kind of Holy Spirit, but I've never felt that way. But since that day, things changed. For my house, for my home, for my sisters, we had peace. We could sleep at our home. Like we didn't have to worry in the middle. We are going to look for a friend, Kulala, and this is our home. So for me, since that day, I think up to today, they respect me a lot. They respect our home. They respect, you don't do anything in our home without telling me. Even if I'm in Nairobi, you do nothing. And right now, my mom is not even there. But you can't make any decision without us. And for me, that is what we called peace building. We don't have to look so far at our homes. And when I went for that training, I realized there's so many levels of conflict. I didn't even know we were in conflict. We are at war. We are just living and we had normalized it. Yeah. And for me, that's why I keep telling people, get out of the village and get exposed. Because when you are in your village, you don't know how things are handled. You keep on being violated. You keep messing up. Me, I tell people, get out. All my sisters, they are out of the village. I'm not saying village is bad. But don't go primary, secondary, high school, campus. In the village, you are not getting exposed. Yeah. So for me, exposure, education taught me that I have power in me. I could go back and I can speak confidently. Since that day, you say nonsense, whether it is a family meeting, I tell you, no, it is not that way. You have to respect us. Yeah. Since that day, I can sit in a family meetings. You cannot make decisions for our home because we are girls. And since that day, I started reclaiming power as a girl. And that's why you see me so passionate about girls' education. And then I realized everything about peace. Everything is interconnected. We are talking about economic empowerment, education. There's an aspect of peace. Because you cannot have a business and it cannot thrive in conflict. But do you know we have homes where you work so hard and then your husband will take all that money. You are not peaceful, you know? So for me, conflict is something so close to us. And everyone is a peacemaker, is a peace builder. Yeah. So you don't have to be in the UN, what, to be called a peace builder, to be called a mediator, to be called what? You can be a peace builder in your house. Yeah. So that is how I started. So the exposure of this training now helped me understand. And then I realized I have an interest. Now, through that interest, I started researching. I started, what is this UNSRCR, these big words? And then when I read through them, kumbe ni too, you see? But when somebody talks about that, I'm like, me, I used to Google, I'm like, hey, NAP, UN, what is it, 1330? I used to Google it. Yeah. So I used to have a notebook and research. And then I think from that training, it opened a lot of doors for me. And that is what I normally tell people. One opportunity will open others. So since that day, I've been able to engage with the IGAD, the UN women, how they do now at bigger levels. Okay. Yeah. And then I was now certified young woman mediation ambassador. I've engaged with Susan, that is how we met. With Susan, now there was an intergenerational dialogue. She came as a mentor. Rose also came. She was a cohort ahead of me. So that is how we met. And then now, since because of referrals, I've contributed to UN DESA when they were creating a manual for Nairobi County on youth peace and security. I was part of it. Those are validations that we've done on roadmap for Kenya peace, or roadmap something on vision, a vision for Kenya. So I've been to spaces because of one opportunity. And that is what I keep telling people. When you get an opportunity, try to find how you can go to the next one. So, and don't overthink. Start small, whatever you're doing. And then I also realized that even through my work, championing for girls' education, girls' rights, GBV, I'm also building peace for those girls. So that is my story.
Tangible passion. Can you touch it? Can you touch the passion? Can you touch the passion? Wow, Lydia, tell us. And then we get into the juice now. Tell us who you are.
Back then, I did not know that I'm a peace person, but I knew that my dad was a peacemaker. So my dad frequently, at some point, when people live together, at some point they get some misunderstandings and all that. So yeah, of course, he would always come and help. But I also noticed that there are some that one of the person would be more stronger or would go overboard, and at some point no one could solve it unless now they get evacuated from the plot and go. And also I also noticed, not just about fights, I noticed that as women, where I used to stay or where I stay, women are not safe in the bathrooms. Women are not safe in the toilets. Women are not safe where they fetch water. So it's a thing for me, looking at when you go to the bathroom, I think this is an incident that even happened recently, where one of an adolescent girl, so that this really touches me because it is an adolescent girl who was affected, who went to just take a bath in our bathrooms. And apparently a gentleman was passing by and happened to see this adolescent girl. So this gentleman saw it was right that he should just go ahead and open the bathroom, because the bathrooms do not lock completely. You can lock it, but not completely. So yeah, so it happened. So, and now the adolescent girl right now, the mental state is not well. Looking even at where this girl stays, she comes from a violent household, in that the people she's living with, most of the time they are always fighting. So it's something that is always disturbing me, even when I was young, looking at what my dad was doing. What he did was mostly for the GBV among couples. That is what he did most. But I also realized there's some other intersecting issues that come with this. Things like, are you safe when you go to the toilet? Where is your toilet located? Is it safe for you as a woman to enter that toilet? Where do you go and fetch the water? Is it safe? Who is managing that water? At what time can you get to even fetch that water? Is that water safe for you as a woman? Yeah. So these are things that really affect me every day, and I know it affects 1,000 more women out there. And that is how I find myself in the peace building space. Yeah.
Oh, I think one thing I've noted from all of us is that we were so we didn't know what peace was, or maybe some of us were like, it's too much for me. But I think I want to commend all of you, because we understand that in the society it's a norm. Maybe there's someone else who that would have happened to, and they're like, sinafanyikanga hivyo. So first of all, I just want to commend you, really commend you for the good job you're doing. And maybe just to just reiterating on that, are women limited in the spaces where they can make decisions matters peace? Is there a gap? Yeah, I think that's the word.
Yeah, I would say yes, there's a gap. And while even solving that case, I think I liked what Susan was talking about being able to understand the community when she was on her travel. So I think there's a gap in that women do not know. It's It's that we have faced this a lot, and it becomes so normal for us. You know, when you're in the ghetto, when you see a thief being killed or someone being killed or someone is being robbed, it's so normal. You're just walking and someone has just been robbed next to you. So I think it's something that has been normalized. So people lack the correct information. You know, people have information out here, but they lack the correct information. Yeah, and even looking at how, I actually did mention these incidents to some girls in my that mostly do these kinds of work, and of course they are my age. And this would be just a question to Susan, because the reaction of the girls were so mad, they were so angry. And what was the next thought we had? The girls were like, tupatie namba ya huyo mtu we want to occupy. We want to salimia that person. Yes. We are going to with the placards to the chief, and the chief must know that girls and women should be safe. So, and I'm trying to look at how humbled you are while you are on your trip. Like you just, I don't know. And maybe you could advise on such like a thing.
Yeah, the risk of that, I want to go and salimia. There's a lot of risk in it.
And we also want change at the same time. Because, I think something that really cooled us is that we called another wise woman who we all know, and he was able to talk the calmness into this lady. So maybe if you could just give us, something like, what
I
do you think?
I think it's even alluding to my next question, which was around leadership styles, because like what she said, there's also safety. There's a safety aspect, because utaenda umsalimia and maybe yourself, you're putting yourself in risk. So what are the leadership styles that are really working, and what can you say on that matter?
Thank you once again. I hear you, and I keep on saying that we have a very different way of the way we react. There are those people react differently. But my lessons from nonviolence training skills, which I also have, it's one of the things that I call it bragging rights. It teaches me what I call 6 P's, and Rosie loves the 6 P's. Prayer, prevent, protest the injustice, do several things. It's 6 P's, but the final P is pay the price. Any action that you do, you must be ready to pay the price. One of the leadership skills that you might derive is P number 4, penetrate the conscience of the adversary. Do not use the methodology that is within the means of the oppressor. The oppressor should never predict you. They should never know that if you do this, that we will riot, that we will do this. You must be able to use a very creative way in handling the situation in a way that that person does not expect. They know that an oppressor who wants to rape a girl knows that the ultimate way that the people will react in that neighborhood will be beat him, will do several things. You have to look at a creative way to apprehend that person in a way that they do not expect. That is very, very good, because when you look at, I sometimes I use religious. Jesus Christ, I call him in short JC when I'm talking to young people. JC, when a lady was brought to him and he was said, amepatikana kizini, he said, if you have no sin, be the first one to cast the stone. So we must begin to look at our conscience on how do we address this. How do we shout? Sometimes silence in itself is violence. So it is the strategy that we decide to adopt that will enable us hold a conversation, will enable us apprehend these people and fight them and bring them to justice. We lack witnesses. Let me tell you, the moment you bring people forward and say, this man was found doing this, you may not have a witness. So you must look at strategies of coaching a witness who can be able to boldly speak with the innocence of a child, who will say, this is wrong. This was done, it is not right. The next thing is that you must create awareness that people know that this is wrong. When I go back to 1325, how do we prevent sexual and gender-based violence? See, report. When you suspect, you report. You don't wait until there is evidence. You must begin reporting from suspicion. When you suspect somebody, you must be able to report. We cannot blame the door, and we cannot blame the girl. We must, because we are looking at who to blame. It is the system that is in place. So we address the what and not the who.
Yeah.
In any style of leadership, address the what. Right now in Kenya, we are addressing the who. We are not addressing the what, the ills that are in the country. And that is our undoing. Thank you.
Ooh, you address the
what?
not the who. Yeah. So maybe now that you've said that, I just want to go now into policies, and maybe you will handle this question, Rose. Are policies targeting the who or the what? And if there needs to if it's not targeting the what are the changes that we need in these policies? Mm-hmm.
Thank you. And I think over time, as young women, we have also mastered the art of paying the price. And sometimes back we were told, create your own table, create your own spaces. Let me tell us, never create another table. There is power in the already existing table. Influence within the room, at the table, and outside the room. I remember we have really been working very closely with the Women, Peace and Security, especially when they were developing the second NAP and the third NAP. One of the reports indicated that after the implementation of the first NAP, there was like a very huge gap between the senior women and the young women. Very few of us had an opportunity to even participate in the first NAP. If we were in the room, then maybe we just felt too little to participate, and we just felt like it is not our space. Maybe we should not speak up, because my generation, the millennials, we were called the microwave generation. We wanted to cook eggs in 3 minutes. We wanted to boil rice in 10 minutes. Mm-hmm. So we have, over time, we have learned to influence at the table and not creating another table. If we must do any other extra activity at that table, then we are bringing in a folding chair. And another thing in the policy gap is the fact that a young woman is somehow gender disadvantaged. And now we are seeing rise in people who believe in young women, senior people who believe in young women. Long time ago, it was just statistics. In this meeting, we had 10 young women. In fact, it was not 10 young women, 10 youth. So if you tell me 10 youth, then if by any chance there were 7 young men in that room, then you see the statistic keeps going down. And it is very shameful, because in this space we still face discrimination. And if you want to hit a young woman so hard, you hit her below her belt. It's like, who are you sleeping with? Are you married? Mm-hmm. Do you have children? I remember one time I was pregnant by then, when Susan was inviting me for the mediation meeting. And then somebody just looked at me and asked, are you sure you are pregnant? And I was like, is it wrong to be pregnant as a young person? Yeah. So if you don't have that thick muscle, you have not mastered the art of paying the price. Yeah. I swear you will withdraw from that table. True. And these are tables that are influencing policies. Over time, we have had opportunities to give policy briefs both regionally and internationally. And some of the challenges are, sometimes I have to participate in a policy brief that is not specifically about young women. Mm-hmm. It is now upon you to make sure that your contribution is directly impacting both generations. Because we also don't want to start doing what was done to some of us, so that by the time we are old, now we are also having this gap between us and the others. Paying the price includes sometimes sacrificing your own. there are days when you have 3 opportunities for young people. You have attended all these trainings. Why would you still go for another one? What are you looking for? Let another fresh mind go there and influence that policy at their own level. Another thing with regards to policy, we have seen a lot of changes where both the implementers and the formulators of policies are beginning to think implementation. Even so many of policies that are coming up. Currently, Kenya is drafting her first national action plan on youth, peace and security. And everyone is on board. You come with your experience, with your even if you have language barrier, let someone who understands you amplify your voice. Yeah.
Great. And Aura, you mentioned something while you're introducing yourself on how when you're new into these spaces, you even did not know these big words until now inakuja huku kwa grassroots is when you understand, so it's something that I know. These policies that are set in place, are they things that people can stomach? Are they things that ule mtu unapigania like that lady, is it something that she can stomach? Is that where the detour needs to come in?
Yeah, I think for starters, the word policy, there's a perception that it brings into your mind. There's some people, when you say the word policy, they're like, that must be something so complex. Like, it looks like some ambiguous word. It looks like for expert, for certain kind of people, the same way, the same thinking when you hear peace for the first time. But I think we can even find some catchy words and break down these policies we're talking about. For instance, I know in the youth peace and security resolutions, the women peace and security resolutions, if you can just tell people about the 5 pillars, how do we prevent, how do we protect, how do we, the other 5, So you break it down to a way that somebody understands, and then you're like, no, this is what is in the policy. Because I think the policy sounds so big, and if you tell someone I'm going to influence a policy, it's like, when you say you are a guru, you know. But did you know that at your little level, at classroom level, in your home, in your village, you are doing something about the 5 pillars. So I think in the YPS, WPS resolutions, we need to start talking about the 5 pillars and make people, let the young people understand that what is their role in preventing, what is their role in participation. And for me, I think what I've been doing so much is pushing for participation, because we cannot, they normally say if you're not on the table, you're on the menu. We really need as many as possible to be at that, to participate. And participation is not just about showing up and ticking the boxes and signing the reimbursement. Participation needs to be meaningful. I normally call it meaningful participation. When you go to, I normally send some few young people, just go to that event, just go to that meeting. And then at the end of the day, you need to tell me what was said. And you know, you can actually, umeshika mtu, the person went there, but didn't even know what was the agenda. Maybe she was just on the phone. Maybe she was just doing her own things or thinking about her tomorrow and everything. But when you're there and you're meaningfully participating, then what did you say? What was discussed and what did you say? And what do you think we can do? For me, who was not in the meeting, what can I do? You know? So that is, we need to push up to now break down this word called policy, to make it simple, understandable, and then pick a pillar that you want to run with.
Yes.
If I want to prevent GBV, say I want to do this in my small way, and then let the people understand that the small little things they do contribute now to the resolution we're talking about. Because now the gap now comes when we make these action plans and then store it somewhere in the software, you know. But we don't bring it to the grassroots, to a level that now people know that this is the NAP we are talking about. Yeah. So I think there's a link, there's a disconnect in breaking down and making people understand what is this NAP. For example, if right now we're talking about NAP 1, and maybe I'll throw it to you, NAP 1, NAP 2, NAP 3. What are you guys doing now that you are in that space to make young people understand what is this NAP and what is their role in the NAP, in implementation of that, so that it's not something that will be created and then it will be somewhere. We wait for NAP 4.
Can I just quickly
Yes.
say something? One of the agendas when we did the second National Action Plan is to look at what we call localization. How do you localize the National Action Plan to the minute level so that the local community begin looking at the things that affect them? To have local ownership, you bring traditional leaders on board, you bring the members of the community, key stakeholders within the community on board. And when you bring them on board, we always tell them it is not a one dress fit it all. In Kitui, what are the problems that are facing women? That is the question that you ask. And the women will say, we are going to get firewood from very far. And when we go to get firewood from that far, we are raped, we are done this, we are done this. So what do you want your local action plan to do for you? We want our local action plan to ensure that we have access to water nearer places, or we want to go in groups, we want to do this, we want to do this. That is the reason that our second National Action Plan focused a lot on local action plans. We have so far 19 local action plans that have been that are being implemented. One of the places that we implemented local action plan, and I must use this example, is Elgeyo Marakwet. Elgeyo Marakwet for me was a plus. FGM is a key component of GBV that is affecting women in Elgeyo Marakwet. But in Elgeyo Marakwet, GBV or FGM is not for young women. It's not for young girls. It's done for women my age, 40 plus. And many people did not know that in Elgeyo Marakwet they're doing FGM for women my age. When I went there to do the local action plan, the women were telling me, I don't want to be called a big girl because I've not undergone FGM. When your son is being circumcised in their tradition, for you to cook for your son, you must have undergone FGM. So women are going for FGM. Their son is being circumcised at 13, 14. 13, 14. When you have a 13 or 14-year-old son, how old would you be with the giving birth? It means you're in your late 30s, you're 40s. In your 40s. Some are as late as in their 50s, mainly because maybe they had daughters first. Then now they have a son who's going to be circumcised. So this challenge, we had to bring it on board in the local action plan. How do we stop FGM for women that age, whether they are going to hospital or they are doing it traditionally? So it is for them to begin looking at what is the correlation. The question I asked these women, what is the correlation between FGM and you cooking? You know, what is the correlation of FGM and you cooking? Yeah. What is the correlation of you serenading your son kumvalisha ile kitu ya Christmas? I don't know how to call that thing. Ile kitu ya graduation, shine. It's really common among the Kalenjins. So when they are implementing their local action plan, that is why I'm saying it's not a one dress fit it all. That FGM is not compatible in Nairobi, for example. It's not compatible in Kisumu. We don't do FGM. So we must look at how that policy is translated to the level of that community, to the challenges that are facing the community. If there is a lot of violation at that level, let's do it at that level. So we are saying nothing for us without us. And once you give these local women capacity, they storm into meetings. I know women in Samburu stormed into chief meeting, and this woman said, 1325 gives me power to sit in this meeting, because she raised her hand and she was not being given opportunity to speak. So she was given opportunity to pray. And when she was given opportunity to pray to close the meeting, she opened the meeting. She said, 1325, before I pray, I want to say something very pertinent. UN Security Council Resolution 1325 gives me power as a woman to sit and discuss and make decisions on issues that are affecting us, matters peace. I want to address you, and we have a Samburu local action plan. This has been signed by this county. Chief, if you are not aware, I am ready to give lesson at this time. And she was able to do it.
Yeah.
So we are making those changes by running some of those things closely. But localization is the biggest agenda that we must begin using right now in policy implementation. It goes right to the ground.
Maybe just an elaboration, maybe if we can understand more about the 1325. Yeah, it's just from you. Yeah.
Okay, I'll just give you a very brief.
Yeah, thank you.
UN Security Council usually meet and pass resolutions. Right from 1948 when they first met, they had a charter that all issues, conflict, must be resolved in what we call Pacific settlement, which is Article 33 of the UN Security Council, of the UN Charter. So it gives us mandate. So many conflicts in the world that were happening were using women as shield, were using children as child soldiers, girls were being adopted as, girls were being adopted as human shield, as sex slaves. So because of that particular aspect, the UN, when they had a meeting on issues of the conflict around the world, the meeting that was being held under the chairmanship of Namibian president in 2000, passed a popular resolution which was passed unanimously, named UN Security Council Resolution 1325. Every time that resolution is passed, it is given a number and a date. Any resolution is given a number and a date. So 1325 was mentioned as the most landmark that was unanimously accepted by the leaders who sat at the UN Security Council meeting, that passed it, that we need, and they passed it to have the 4 pillars on participation. Women must be at the forefront of peace negotiations, of peace building strategies, in mediation processes. They must be able to participate in strategies of prevention of sexual and gender-based violence. What is it that they teach their children? How do you prevent SGBV for your daughter who lives with you? How do you tell her that this is her private part, that nobody should touch? And if it is touched, how can she report? So you are able to teach them from that minute. And how do we protect women and girls from sexual and gender-based violence? And the final pillar was relief and recovery. In relief and recovery, you find that when there is a conflict, women are the majority in the IDP camps. Men are the majority people who implements things that are being taken. Even if you call for refugee assistance, women don't sit to make decisions in the humanitarian aid. And if they make decisions, they will know that you cannot send sanitary towels without underwear. Why? Women cannot do without underwear, men can. Men can stay in that camp without underwear. So women must be at the forefront of decision-making processes within those spaces to enable them address. So after 1325 was unanimously adopted, we realized that women were still facing challenges, and there have been other 6 resolutions that supports that 1325, like 1820, 1888, and 1889. Some of them were mainly to reinforce 1325. The final one that really came to reinforce 1325 was in the youth, peace and security, which is 2250. 2250 was of 2015. 2250 realized that as much as we are talking about youth, as much as 1325 is talking about women and girls, we still, when I sit at a table and 3 of you want to speak and I've been given a mic, I speak for 30 minutes and leave you with 2 minutes. So when these girls go to the youth meeting, they are told they are women. When they come to the women meeting, you find women my age who are now protecting our spaces. We are like, this is my space. If this girl comes and outshines me, it's going to affect me. So 2250 came to give you an aid. So it's an opportunity for young women to be in both spaces. And the lessons that the young women bring in the space of 1325 are very immense, pertinent lessons. Yes. We may not realize it at start. I had an opportunity in NAP 1 and in NAP 2, We brought young women. Yes, we abandoned them along the way because they were not aggressive enough. And it's true, they were not aggressive enough. All they could do, for me, I'll tell you, Karino Mtoniwasi put me on Twitter, and I kept on telling her I have forgotten my password. and she gives me a new password. She gives me a new password. I tell her, I'm an oral person, write for me. These things that you want me to write on the internet, I am not able to update them. But if they are patient enough, they will be able to learn that we are an oral community and they are a digital community, and they can push us forward. But 2019, 2020, COVID forced us into getting into the digital space. So we thank COVID for aiding us to get into that space. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Maybe just a follow-up, probably a last one. Maybe I would wish to know about the 1325. I think it's such a nice one. I want to know its relation with femicide, because we were talking about violence on women and all that. So is femicide even stated? How does it even relate to it? Is femicide something that is in it?
Thank you. I'll tell you the latest local action plan that I did was in Gishu. And when you go to a local action plan, 1325, when it talks about preventing violence against women, you look at what is violence against women in the context of where it is happening. I had an opportunity of meeting athletes in Eldoret who were able to explain to me how they are meeting femicide within, why it is becoming high among the athletes in Uasin Gishu. The Uasin Gishu action plan is one of the action plans that has highlighted how to prevent femicide, how to protect women from femicide. Because we looked at the athletes camp and what we can be able to do within the athletes camp, how we can be able to train these younger women from that age. Of course, it meets a lot of challenges. It is one of the action plans that I'll tell you exercised my mediation and negotiation skills, because the county government wanted it scrapped off our local action plan. They wanted the way the elders handle issues of femicide, handle the issues of GBV they are called Koburu. I cannot be able to pronounce the word very well. The Koburu elders handle that under the tree. They wanted that scrapped off the action plan. But I defended the reason that we must be able to have issues of femicide in the Uasin Gishu County Action Plan, so that it gives it an opportunity for them to address. So there is a relation. There is a very big relation. It only depends with where it is high. Yeah. You cannot put femicide in Machakos County Action Plan while there have not been any case reported. One case is many cases. One case is many cases. But if there is 0 case reported in a certain area, you may not be able to put it there. Mm-hmm. You put the real violence that exists in that region. Yeah. So Uasin Gishu is it's an example. Thank you.
There's policies, there's implementation. There's implementation. But now we have, when a case like this one comes, we have to go to the streets to shout. Like, we always have to use force. Okay, not necessarily, but policies ziko hapa hazifuatwi. Now we have to do something that is, let's say, diabolical some way, so that ndio kukuwe na accountability. Actually, the word is accountability. So how do we bring this policy and accountability hivi? Yeah. For example, an instance, hiyo new story ya msichana wa bafu. Like, must we shout? Must we go with, like,
what so that's Mm-hmm. Okay. I think I'll give it in 2 dimensions. The current digital age. You say that we are digital. And then I think with whatever is happening in the country, we have the duty bearers and then we have the people. So the people, for a long time, don't see the rewards of these policies. And then they feel, maybe if I now shout, and then they listen. And you can see what happened even with the Gen Z revolution. The Gen Zs, maybe they're feeling, if you go actually speak about this in the loudest form, then the government will do something. And they normally say it is the language of the government. And government are the ones, they're the they're the ones who are the action, who are going to action on these policies we're talking about. And then most of the things that we're doing, most of the time, they have a big stake in it. They're the ones who can either make your little effort be invisible or visible. So I think the current generation, the digital influencing, it has also taught us about the power of digital platforms. We've now been told that right now, if, for instance, the case of rape, I can go and harness the digital platform and shout about it. Wacha tuanike. Siku hizi, wacha tuanike hiyo mambo ya rape, huko social media, let's gang up, and then now we can now pick the conversation from there. So there's these new trends that are emerging. And Kitambo, as Madam Susan has talked about the silent treatment that they are doing, right now it's people are like, the silence is not helping me. So let me talk about it. And what the medium that we are going to use, that people are going to attend to, is now the digital platform. So I think the world is evolving, and then it's now creating new mechanisms to see that these policies are actioned upon. Yeah.
I could go next. So for me, I'm not pretty sure I have an answer for that, looking at how the world is right now. So if you tell me I should go to the streets, because right now placards are like threats to, I'd say, the government. So when they see placards, they would automatically shift to to the defense zone. So for me, I'd really wish to know, from you guys, because even when we decide that we are silent, they'll say we are silent because we think it's right. We are silent because probably we don't know our rights, because right now we are in that generation where people now know. We now know. But probably I'm trying to assume they think that we still don't know, or they're trying to give it a guess that probably we don't know, that's why we are doing it. So for me is however it works. As long we want the change. We want things to happen the right way. Women must live in peaceful societies. Women must be secure. We should feel the security everywhere we go. So for me, anyhow it works. As long as, just how Madam Susan was saying it, as long as you know the aftermath. What the mechanism you're using. If you're using placards, are you ready for the aftermath? If you're using social media, are you ready for the aftermath? If you're using whatever way you're going to do it, just ensure you know that you can endure the aftermath of your ways.
Paying the price.
Yes, paying the price, exactly.
Maybe can I just strengthen my answer that I gave? As much as we're talking about the digital platform as an opportunity, I think there's an issue of do you have a plan? It's beyond taking a whole day of trending on Twitter about something, and then the next day we go back to our normal work. So for me, it is beyond the noise. Whatever technique, like she said, the anyhow, whatever techniques we are going to adopt, whether it is streets or digital or silence, what is your plan with that? After organizing and mobilizing people, what is your end game? If you decide we want to use social media, do that, make noise. Who is your target with that noise? I think if you do it in a vacuum without directing the power, the energy to the right person, then you're wasting time. So for me, focus on, after this can be a strategy to something that you are aiming at. So be very strategic in terms of the target person and who in that office is the right person to handle this, and bring those people on board to that noise, let them feel it. And then maybe the next day after that online trending, tomorrow go to that office and continue with that. So for me, it is beyond the noise. It is the next action.
Yeah, I love that. And I just want to trickle back to the third P. Just bring it back again. The third P, which was target, something about target.
the 6 P's,
Yes.
I only spoke about 2 of them. Paying the price, penetrating the conscience
That
of
one.
the adversary, which is a 4th P. We call it a 4th P. We have a P that you must proclaim the truth, protest the injustice. Many a times, people wait and they don't proclaim the truth. You cannot get an answer even when you penetrate the conscience while you don't have truth within you. So when you listen to works of Gandhi, total love, Gandhi says that he speaks the truth even if he's a minority of 1. You can imagine a minority of 1. You speak the truth. But what I want to bring back to this discussion is the concept of sustaining peace. I don't know how many of you have heard about the concept of sustaining peace, because it is good that you build peace.
Yes.
But how do you court and sustain that peace that you've been able to build? This is where the rain starts beating us. When the GNZ, for example, went up in arms, they flooded the Twitter, we were not able to predict. As somebody who sits back to talk about conflict early warning, early response mechanism, we could not detect an early warning. So it meant that we did not have capacity for early response. And that's why it went to the level at which it went. So this concept of early warning, early response is learning even within that process. So our key agenda is how do we sustain peace within the process that we start? How do we hold these leaders accountable? And how do we become creative? For me, it's the creativity that will enable you do things, because in community organizing, we say that you must not be predictable. The GNZ were never predictable, but now they are becoming predictable because they are using one system and not sustaining and not creating. Creativity does not end. We see new cars coming every day. Those who are building cars, if they detect and they say that return Harrier to the shop, you come back with a different type of make. So it is, how do you reposition, rebuild, bring back new techniques in even upholding rights, in even ensuring that the right holders are taught a lesson that they cannot be able to repeat. We have to look at key strategies in what we call creativity. We have to look at key strategies of innovativeness, that it must be anew every day. When I was reading issues of nonviolence, I looked at airport workers in Malawi. Airport workers in Malawi did something that you would never have thought of. They said that they were going to demonstrate, but they did not demonstrate normally. They all went to the toilet. When the aeroplanes landed, you know, when an aeroplane lands, everybody wants to go to the toilet. The workers, all of them went to the toilet. The manager had to come to the toilet to ask, because nothing was running, what is going on? That is creativity. He had to stoop low to address issues of the workers in the toilet. And they were all shaking. Are you having bad stomach? Nobody is answering. We have also had nonviolence strategy that have worked in this country. Many people don't know what Wangari Maathai did to be able to release political prisoners. Yes, it was an abomination, but it is something that nobody expected that the women will strip. Nobody expected that the women will strip. This is a nonviolence action. That stripping alone was an abomination to the leaders that they did not expect. June 10th, 1997, we did a nonviolence action at Basilica. Yes, it was infiltrated. We were saying no budget, no constitution, no budget. It was infiltrated by leaders. But the fact that they saw us at Basilica and the late Ndingi locked us inside Basilica, a section of those who went out, like Reverend Joya, who were beaten outside. The fact that people were in there, it rang to this country that masses can be able to make changes. Just that aspect of people sitting inside Basilica until 10 p.m., they released those trackers. We were not going out. We all had white handkerchief and we were inside the church. The few who went outside were beaten. A non-violence technique and innovativeness must come present to sustain peace. How do we use it? We have creative minds. How do we activate this creative mind of young people? That is where I want to borrow leaf from you. What is it that we can be able to do? The young people have the innovation. Mi skili yangu ile ya zamani. What I was using all time. We keep on saying that facilitating a training workshop is now not the in thing. Maybe holding conversations is the thing that is making people understand and bringing everybody on board. Because there is nothing for us without us. Yes. We cannot do things for you. We are thinking globally, we are acting locally, but nothing for us without us. When you stand that ground, which 2250 speaks to, then you will be able to move mountains. Thank you.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think something that is really standing out for me is sustaining peace. And I love that. I think Mam Jane keeps on saying it all the time. The youth run faster, but the nisiwaite wazee. but the older know the way. And I think this intergenerational conversation has really opened our minds, myself included. I've never thought of sustaining peace. Like, yes, unafanya hivi, but doing no harm as well, you see. So it's such a beautiful thing. And because we are powerhouses, I know we can talk for hours. So I just wanted us to just give our parting shots. Yes, our parting shots. Yeah.
Amazing. My peace building self will say, we cannot work in isolation. Who are our allies? My human rights self will say, wrong is wrong no matter who does it. Take action.
Wow. Again, the pressure ni ya gasi yenyu.
My parting shot is that invite yourself into those spaces. Don't wait. Even in the best democracy, like the one in America, it is not served on a plate. You have to demand, you have to defend, you have to seek, and you must find. Invite yourself in that space and make yourself relevant, make yourself known. Please, young people, I know where they are doing for women is that when I'm invited, I don't want Jane to know that I'm going for an invitation. But for me, what I do is that I tag along. You ask the invitee, can I come with a friend whose job will be to observe? I used to say, can I be a talking baggage, a talking luggage beside you, or a handbag carrier who is only observing? But if you give me your voice, I can say something. So tag along your friend, walk with them, get them into the spaces. I know the biggest challenge that we are asking is money. And I'll tell you, if I am going to a training that is going to give me 10,000, if I ask you, can you come, I give you 2,000 out of that money, would you accept? Invite yourself.
Okay, my parting shot would be that peace is everyone's agenda. So as much as we are women here trying to talk of matters peace, just know that we are your women. We are your sisters. We are your mothers. We are your grandmothers. So it's all of us. It's our agenda. And it wouldn't make sense that you think you are peaceful and I am not peaceful. So if I'm not peaceful, most probably it is coming. It's just a matter of time. The unpeacefulness that I have is coming to you. So let us all try and create peace in the community. Yeah, so it's everyone's agenda.
Yeah. For me, I'd say that one thing that nobody can take away from you is the light within. There's always some light within you. So use that light to be the peacemaker in your family, in your community, in your village, in your organization. And then I think if we build up the small pieces of peace building, then we'll have a peaceful, sustainable community.
Beautiful. And and mine would be, you don't have to be an expert to that reality. If you have a voice it out for someone who cannot do it.